Sitting here at work, I'm just angry. I haven't seen much of my son this year. I didn't get him for the summer because of this damn virus, and I'm upset about that. At the end of September, I found out that my wife of 5 years is cheating on me. I've spent most of my time dealing with the FBI, which has been a complicated and frustrating process. I've had this unpleasant woman in my house, and I have to pretend that everything is fine when all I want to do is confront her and kick her out. My lawyer keeps telling me to wait, but I haven't slept in my bed for almost 2 months. I can't wait to burn it when she's gone. The lack of physical intimacy has caused her to accuse me of cheating. If she tries to hug or kiss me, I have to endure it even though it makes me feel sick. When I look at her, I see bugs crawling all over her. I want her gone, but I have to wait for the right time. My fuse is almost burnt out. It's like being trapped in a room with someone and all there is a table. The room echoes as they tap on the table, tapping and tapping until you just want to flip the table and strangle them. I can't even talk to anyone about it because it's always not yet, not yet, not yet. I'm angry and disappointed in myself for allowing someone to treat me this way again. I just want this to be over. I miss my son. Update. I arrived home late on Sunday after a 1,400-mile drive. I was relieved to not have to see or talk to my wife. I was exhausted and went straight to my chair to sleep. I haven't been sleeping well for 2 months, and I've lost 15 pounds. But it was the first time in a while that I got a full 8 hours of sleep. On Monday, my wife tried to initiate intimacy, but I couldn't bring myself to do it with her. My body may be ready, but my mind and heart are in complete agreement that I don't want to be intimate with her. This upset her and we got into a heated argument. I told her that maybe there was something wrong with me. I'm 50 years old. These things happen. She insinuated once again that I was cheating on her and that I wasn't being a good husband. It's been over 2 months since we've been intimate, and I haven't told her I love her in the same amount of time. Clearly, she thinks I'm doing something behind her back. She tried to manipulate me, but I was already piecing everything together. My D-Day was September 25th. I work in collision repair, specifically on vehicles that are considered train wrecks. On September 25th, I accidentally cut my leg open while working on a truck. I had to go to the emergency room and ended up with 5 stitches on the inside of my leg and 34 stitches on the outside. It was a pretty bad injury. I was prescribed strong painkillers and knew I couldn't drive, so I called my wife for help. She didn't answer, so I tried again and again, even sending her texts begging for her to pick up. After an hour and a half of no response, I gave up and called an Uber to take me home. As we approached my house, I saw my wife kissing her boss in our doorway. I was in shock and told the driver to stop. This wasn't just a quick kiss, they were deeply involved. My wife was supposed to be at work, but instead she was cheating on me in our own home. I took a few pictures and told the driver to keep going. I couldn't believe what I had just witnessed. When the painkillers wore off, I drove home, both physically and emotionally in pain. My wife wasn't there when I arrived, but she came home a few hours later acting concerned. I asked her about her day, and she made up a story about work, which I later found out was a lie. A week later, I discovered that she hadn't worked a Friday in 3 years. I had never been a big user of Reddit, but I turned to it for advice on dealing with infidelity. I came across this subreddit and watched some YouTube videos. As I read through the posts, I realized that all the red flags were there in my own marriage. My wife was always on her phone, constantly texting, and never seemed to answer my calls or texts. It wasn't until last Monday when I was in the emergency room that she finally noticed my attempts to reach her. In the 2 months since that incident, she had not even bothered to look at our chat log. I was furious and showed her the unanswered texts. She apologized but then lied to my face about having a hard day at work. The truth was, she was too busy with her boss in our home to answer her phone. In the time since then, I have gone through her phone, laptop, and iPad, and even installed cameras in our house. I finally had enough and had her served with divorce papers yesterday. For those who are wondering, I wasn't in a good state of mind to write about it yesterday. Still not really, but I will get it off my chest. I woke up and left the house, got myself some breakfast while waiting for her to leave for work. Rented a truck, went back home, and changed the locks. My friend and her husband came over, he brought a friend, and we packed up her things. We loaded up our bedroom furniture that I got her as a wedding gift. My couch, my dining table, just all the furniture she'd defiled. Took it to storage, put all her clothes in garbage bags. I was going to throw her dirty clothes in with the clean, but my friend wouldn't let me. We finished around 11 a.m. Around lunchtime, I bought flowers and chocolates and went to her workplace. I went in, gave her the flowers and candy, gave her a big hug and a kiss. She was all smiles and blushes. Her coworkers were saying, "Ah, that's so sweet." I told her that I would love to take her to lunch, but I had to go get a checkup on my leg. I also asked her not to make any plans for the night, because I wanted to give her a special evening. I gave her a goodbye kiss and started walking out. At this point, I'm gonna start calling her GM, Tom, or FT. As I was leaving, I saw her boss and gave him a big smile and said, "Hey Tom, how are you?" I waved and left. Then I went and got some lunch. At 2 p.m., a deputy would be walking into my wife's workplace to serve her. At 2 p.m., I was standing in front of FT's house. I texted him the picture I took on the day I caught them. I took a selfie in front of his house and sent that too. I knocked on the door and Mrs. FT answered. She knows me a bit from parties and events at my wife's workplace. I told her that my wife and her husband were having an affair. She didn't believe me. I showed her the first picture I took, and a selfie they took while my wife was with him on my couch. She slapped me and started crying. I just stood there. I gave her a thumb drive with all the evidence I had of my wife and her husband's affair. I also told her that my wife was cheating on me with multiple men, and she should get checked for STDs. I gave her my lawyer's card and my number. Then she asked why I was doing this to her. And to be honest, I don't know why I did it. I hurt her pretty badly. I feel like the biggest jerk for doing that. I told her she had a right to know. And I felt terrible for giving her that answer. As I was leaving, my phone started blowing up. I didn't answer any calls or texts. I just went home. When I got home, I changed my Facebook status to divorced. I started reading the text from my wife. "What is this? What are you doing?" I messaged her back and told her she could come to the house at 7 p.m. and not 1 minute before to get her clothes. Apparently FT didn't tell her what I did right away, as I imagine he had his own problems at the moment. But my wife sent me a text a little later, berating me for telling Mrs. FT. So he did tell her. My friend who covered up for my wife, I'll call her Amber, started calling me. So I answered. I asked her, "How long have you known that my wife and FT were having an affair? Please don't lie to me." And she told me what I suspected the whole time, since before my wife and I had even met. All this time I was the side piece. My whole marriage is a sick joke. Let me tell you, that's a bitter pill to swallow. I asked her why she didn't tell me. She said it's because they thought I would get violent. I told her that she knew me better than that. She said she kept it a secret because she was her friend. But what about me? Wasn't I a friend too? I asked her if she knew her husband was cheating. Wouldn't she want me to tell her? As a friend, wouldn't I be obligated to let her know something she should know? She said yes. So I hung up and sent her pictures my wife had taken of her and her husband, and texted her back with my lawyer's number saying that my lawyer has all the information I know. Then I told her never to contact me again. At about 4 p.m., my wife showed up at the house and found out about the locks. She started banging on the door and yelling. I didn't answer. She tried calling again. I turned my ringer off. Then she broke a window and left. At close to 7 p.m., 2 deputies parked out front. One of them was the person who helped me move stuff earlier. His wife also showed up, who is also my friend. At 7 p.m., my wife showed up. She looked pretty subdued. I'm pretty sure she and Amber had gotten into an argument by then. I gave her her clothes, the storage key and address, and my lawyer's card. I told her that all contact with me will be through her. My wife started with the "I love you" crap. She said we can work this out, she's sorry. She loves me, it was a mistake, she doesn't love them. It didn't mean anything. I just pointed at my lawyer's card. She said that it's her house too, and I can't kick her out. I told her it's my home, and that she literally made a mistake that cost her it. This is when she got really loud. All the I love yous turned into I hate yous and insults. The deputies turned on their lights and neighbors had come out to watch the drama. I remained fairly calm and had my hands at my side through this. She kept screaming at me. I think she might have been drinking. She started crying that she had nowhere to go. When I told her that I don't care, I learned something new about my wife. She can throw a right hook. She gave me a fat lip and a bloody nose. I didn't move. I just stood there and let her do it. She tried scratching my face. The deputies restrained her. I declined pressing charges and told them to just make her leave. They filed an incident report so I could get a TRO. Actually, I'm glad she did that. When she left, I went back in, and while I was cleaning myself up, and all the emotions I should have been feeling for the past 2 months finally hit me. I am extremely exhausted right now. I had hoped that I would feel better after everything came out, but I don't. I am not someone who cries easily, but I have been doing a lot of that since last night. My phone has almost 600 unanswered texts and calls, and the number keeps growing. I have decided to cut off contact with our mutual friends. I do not want them to try to mediate the situation. I will deal with them at a later time. I did not call my son last night, even though I usually call him every night. I will tell him tonight. He probably won't be upset by the news, as he was not fond of her. Now for our next update. I met with her and her lawyer today. I did not get everything I wanted, but I got enough. We signed for an uncontested divorce, which will be official in about 2 months. That is the good news. I do feel some relief from this, but I am also very sad about the whole thing. First of all, she did not or could not look at me during the entire proceeding. I do not want to assume what was going through her mind, but I would like to think that she did not have the courage to look me in the eye. She got a decent lawyer, who knew he was handed a challenging case. They asked if reconciliation was possible, and we did consider it, even though it is not possible. We asked for full disclosure of what she did. Her lawyer had already had her write it out, but what she wrote down was less than what I already knew. I read it, and conveniently, the 2 men whose identities I did not know were not included. My lawyer produced stills from the camera footage and asked who's this and who's this. She was not very forthcoming with him either. They asked us to step out, and we did. I did not catch every word, but he did not sound pleased. When we came back in, I got a more truthful version. The 2 men were online hookups and were very recent. She had been having an affair with FT for most of the time I have known her. She said she ended it with him sometime after I proposed and until about a year into our marriage. I think I believe her on that. I know I shouldn't believe anything she says, but I did ask if she was ever faithful during our marriage. She started with FP, my coworker and Amber's husband, on July 4th, 2019. We had a 4th of July barbecue, and she was intimate with him at my house while I was there. She said she did not love him. She just got off on it. During this year, she became bolder and started hooking up with random men from online sites. I am pretty sure she also had some parking lot hookups and such, but I did not press on that. I asked the attorneys to give us some privacy for a bit, because I wanted to ask her some personal questions. They left the room and I asked her why. Not why she cheated, but why she married me. Why didn't she say no? She said she loved me. What a great way to show it. She wanted to be married. She wanted this, the security. I was good in bed, but she's loved FT for 10 years. He wasn't leaving his wife and her clock was ticking. So I was a backup plan, basically. She said I made her happy, but she wanted what she wanted. For those asking, they have both been fired. Amber raised quite a commotion at work. I didn't need to make a fuss about anything. My soon-to-be ex-wife is living with her parents. I don't know what FT and Mrs. FT are doing. I was told it is none of my business. I think he's trying to stay married. If he stays married, I may have to confront him. I asked if there was anything else I ought to know. She told me she had an abortion 2 years ago because she didn't know who the father was. Wow, that was a low blow. In the beginning, we tried to have a child, but we opted for the quit trying and enjoy the intimacy approach. I would love to have another child, like a daughter I could spoil rotten. I had unprotected intimacy with my wife nearly daily. There's a huge chance this child was mine. I will never know. This was enough to make me get up and walk out. Al can talk about a bullet dodged. I'm just thinking she terminated my child. If anyone here has ever done any boxing, there's a point where the blows just keep coming. But you don't feel them. I mean, they're doing damage, but it doesn't hurt like the first few punches. It's just too much, and you get numb to them. This is where I'm at. She could tell me she started the Chicago fire, and I would not be surprised. I called the lawyers back in. They told me to go to Plan B is to take my demand for alimony off of the table. I want the divorce agreement uncontested and signed. This is the fastest way. I wanted to say that a condition to reconcile was for her to undo all those other interactions, but I know that's impossible. There's no point in being clever here. I won't lie, the abortion has me rattled. I don't want a monthly reminder of this woman, even in the form of a paycheck. So at 5:43 p.m. she signed. In around 2 months it will be official. I keep my house, my retirement funds, all my property, and there will be no alimony for either of us. She gets $73,000 from our savings, but is not allowed to contact me ever again. We are done. I do not care what happens to her now. I don't want to know what she'll do. For her own good and for anyone she meets in the future, I hope she sees a therapist. But I am done caring about this woman. I, in no way, feel like a weight has been lifted off of me. I've eaten a terrible sandwich, and this is all I can taste. I've had nothing to be happy about for 3 months, and I am not happy now. I don't see that in my future, at all. That abortion has been on my mind since she said it. I think it's gonna be there for a long time. I don't know what I'm going to do in the immediate or long-term future. Maybe when this is all finalized, I'll feel better. I'll feel some kind of release. I don't know. Right now I just want to be left alone. No more "oh man, so sorry to hear that" or any of that. Right now I just want quiet. This whole time I've been thinking about everything I've ever done, and I don't see anywhere where I have done right, only where I've gone wrong. I know this is an awful mindset to have, but it's what I'm left with. All I can say is at least I got to keep my stuff this time, but I won't be doing this again. Update. The decree showed up in the mail today. Snowmageddon slowed things down a bit. Oddly, I'm neither happy nor sad about this. Some friends wanted to celebrate, but I've never felt that failure is a cause for celebration. Actually, I'm a bit numb. I'm sure it'll hit me later, out of the blue. She called me today. I picked up. I figured what's done is done, so I talked to her. She's messed up more than I am. She didn't apologize. She asked, what good would that do? I honestly don't know if she really regrets what she did to me, but it really doesn't matter now. Her folks. This is tough. My son is as close to having a grandchild as they've ever got. He's asked me if it's okay to communicate with them. I'm fine with that, but how do I talk to them without her being in the conversation? These people just wreck everything, don't they? I really liked her dad. They are as close to having relatives from my side of the family as my son will ever have. Also, my chihuahua I've named Dulce. Thank you to whoever suggested that. It really rolls off the tongue. She kept me warm through Snowmageddon. 5 days with no power or heat, and below freezing temperatures, and she kept the bed warm like a little trooper. Anyhow, I'm gonna take a long break from here. Maybe until I feel like dating or looking for something casual. I've always had that doubt in the back of my head. She doesn't love me. She'll leave. She'll break me. It's screaming at me now. Right now I'm good. That fear of stove burners is a good thing. I need a lot of time. I'm gonna give myself that. I wish all of you the best. Just because we've been let down doesn't mean we are worthless. Stay strong. I love all of you. Small update, I started therapy in July. I'm dealing with a lot of things in it. This latest round of infidelity, talking about it with you, and a therapist. I have issues related yet unrelated to deal with. To put it bluntly, I want to reconcile with my sister. She is all I have left. I honestly wonder if I have the courage to do it because I have held a grudge for so long. I want my son to know family members from my side who are actually related by blood, not just my friends that he calls uncle or aunt. This is something my first experience with infidelity has cost me. I want some things back. If she's willing to talk to me, then I'll talk with her. Okay? I'm pretty sure my cousin will facilitate this. I know I advocate for leaving everyone who won't back you, but it has been nearly 3 decades. My parents are dead. My brother is dead. There's just my sister left. My therapist is on board with this. I just need to work up the courage to extend the olive branch. I don't want to hold a grudge forever. I believe I was right to cut ties with them all, but I don't want this anymore. I have custody of my son, indefinitely, and I'd like to be able to give him some semblance of normalcy. I don't miss my ex nor my first ex. I do miss my sister. I have let my first wife dictate all of my relationships for far too long. Sometimes I just feel haunted. I believe it will be a good thing. Maybe if I get back some of what I lost, I will be able to move forward. I'm not hung up on my ex, but I'm hung up on my past. And for those who want to know, no, I don't know how my ex is doing. I don't talk to her. No, I don't know how Amber is doing. She's been completely removed from my life like the unpleasant memory that she is. I don't know how my ex's associates are doing. I have only one concern for all of those people, but it is the only concern I have, and I don't feel like dealing with it. Final update. In 1 hour it will be exactly 1 year since I served my ex with divorce papers. I woke up in a good mood, went for a run, made breakfast for my son, and went to work. The day was going well and I had no mental issues. 10:30 a.m. rolls around, and I get called up to the office. There was a delivery of cookies for me, from my ex, the same thing she would do every year. I told the people in the office they could have them. Our CSR asked who the cookies were from, so I told her, no one has touched them yet. I'm a little annoyed that someone told her where I work now. Other than that, I'm still in a fairly decent mood. She has other ways of trying to get to me and let me know she's still around. Her favorite is to be late on her car payments, so the finance company calls me. I guess this is just one more. I came home to a surprise party. I was greeted with barbecue and beer. I love my friends. They thought I might need cheering up, but honestly, aside from the cookies, my day was pretty good. This was just a great end to the day. OP, it's so ironic that she sends you cookies on your anniversary, a year to the day after she was served. It's almost as if she thinks there was something to celebrate. I doubt she has any motive other than to reconnect with you. She was completely indifferent during your last conversation, so I doubt time has changed her attitude. My guess is she wants to keep the fight going by admitting to more hurtful actions just to hurt you a little more. Or maybe she's complaining about money. Either way, I'm glad you got rid of the cookies without much thought. Your story serves as a great example for others on how to handle a cheating spouse. Thank you for sharing this marvelous story with us.